Okie dokie, AllNet Website Connect.
In January, council discussed the town's website and AllNet meetings program that is used for council meetings. It was suggested to meet with AllNet at AMM convention in March to see what they have to offer. The CAO met with AllNet and they provided estimates for the town. We currently pay $680 a year for our current website, which is outdated and not user-friendly. The AllNet website will be $5,495 a year. It's modern, user-friendly, many more options. And the AllNet Connect is $3,995 a year. I did a further breakdown of what each item provides. I realize this is important to council and would like to upgrade. I realize this is important, and if council would like to upgrade our current website. However, if the decision is dependent on the budget, we may want to just try and update our existing website if we can, until we can afford a new website. What does council want?
So those of us that were at AMM, did you get a chance to see the lady in action with the website? Yeah. I found it to be very impressive. The AllNet Connect is pretty cool, and it allows us to communicate with our ratepayers. There was quite a bit that it does. The cost sounds like a lot, but it really isn't. And our website is horrific for anybody using a mobile device. And when you look at how well these other municipalities' websites work, I think it's something we need to try to look at in the budget again this evening.
So once it's updated, then it drops to the 39 as opposed to 54?
No.
No, they're two different services. The 39 is the AllNet
Oh,
Connect.
one's Connect,
Yes.
sorry. Yeah.
So the only issue I might have there with it is, so who's going to, all these things change, so who's going to be responsible for sending the information then to the website or to the person that's going to update it? You know what I mean? Like, so we have, so for instance, it's because what I'm getting at is extra work, right? So you're tidy up Tuesdays, so now, okay, now you send that out and put it together to send it out to the AllNet website. Okay, all right, I'll do that, and then some other, I don't know if that's things we should be doing anyway, but just, I guess, watch what you're asking for, because then it's you're constantly trying to keep up with these things.
Yeah, if you're paying that kind of money, you're gonna want somebody constantly updating it.
But you're going to be, or someone's
gonna have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Someone's gonna have to.
But do you not have access that it can be updated by someone here?
Oh, yeah, but
That's
you're
what I
still gonna
mean.
have to have a town employee doing it.
that's something, yeah.
The integration features of it were pretty impressive. So for instance, while we're sitting here at our meeting, Jen could be, if she had the laptop, and if we were doing, if we had a task in there, we can update the website right while she is sitting there doing it, because it's so integrated. It was very cool. And it might be a really good idea for them to give us a presentation, because if not all of council has seen it, you don't really have all the information. So if even an online presentation, would work. But it was very impressive, very clean, very smooth. And there's several municipalities using it.
Lots.
Yes.
Yeah. The AllNet, they have recommended for the website to do the all-inclusive package. And the stuff it includes is calendar, public notice manager, open slideshow, photo gallery, website search, muni news, e-service request, form builder, micro websites, push alert messaging, map building, property listing manager, water meter readings, so people could just send in their readings, water meter readings right through the website instead of having somebody going around. Documents, our YouTube video for our meetings could be posted right on there. Business directory, ad manager, which is, we can do managers, alert pop-up notifications. There'd be a tax calculator right on there. We would just have to enter our mill rate, and they would have to know their assessment. A cemetery database, RSS news feed, local news, multiple sources. Your views, we can create polls right on there. It connects right to our AllNet meetings that you have right now for council meeting videos, minutes, and agendas. And that was just a few of the highlights of what it can do.
So,
Yeah, she moved through it pretty easily.
yes,
Yeah.
very much so. So I would suggest that we're interested, I'm assuming. everybody, yeah? And that a presentation would be very
Yep.
good. We're good with that, folks?
So they don't need to come here though.
No, they should.
You know what, Vern's, the owner of AllNet, Vern, is pretty good. He has family here too.
Oh.
So he may be interested in coming up and just doing a quick presentation. He usually does a tour every once in a while,
Oh,
so
okay.
I'll see what he says. If you want.
Yeah,
Okay.
either that or online.
Yep.
RMF Kelsey Building Inspector Agreement?
The agreement with the agreement with the RM for the use of the town's building inspector. At the beginning of the year, the RM approached the town with regards to using the town's building inspector. The committee met with the building inspector and it was agreed to move forward with an agreement. The RM previously had an agreement with the OFC, so this agreement was basically copied with the appropriate changes so it would work for the town and the RM. The RM, the building inspector, and the town CAO have all reviewed the agreement and have had no concerns. This will be for a one-year trial period. The agreement is very similar to the agreement with the OFC. Resolution to sign agreement for 1 year. Consider long-term in the future.
We have a number of agreements with the RM, right? The recreation agreement, the pool, or the lagoon, the dump. There's a few things. And it's my understanding just about all of them have lapsed,
Okay,
I think. Jen, yeah?
possibly.
Pretty much. So rather than having an individual piecemeal discussion, maybe we should have a meeting with the RM and discuss all of them. Because they're all up for renewal and they all need attention. What do you guys think?
Be nice to have them ahead of time so we can actually see what all the agreements are.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so we'll put together a meeting, a planning meeting, we'll call it, and we'll review the RM agreements, and then we'll set up a meeting with the RM to negotiate them.
Right,
I like that idea.
yeah.
Okay. I think that's it for open meeting, the rest is in camera.
Yep.
Yeah.
Did you,
That got moved into
Okay.
camera, yeah.
and then you wanted Jeff Jones on there?
Oh, right, okay, new business next meeting. I would like to get an update on Jeff Jones's property, and I'm not sure what he's called these days, but it used to be.
gym.
The gym, there we go. So he's approached me about parking concerns. So if we could get the history of what the acceptable parking was on that corner prior to his opening, any changes that have been made since he's opened, and any concerns that we may have
Okay,
about
I know
the
Sam's
parking.
been dealing with it.
Yeah, so if they could if we could get that on the agenda,
Yep.
because he's quite concerned about the
History of
situation.
acceptable parking
Yeah.
prior to opening.
Did we ever get anything back from
No.
29 Edwards or something, or whatever?
I haven't yet, no. Oh,
What's that?
yeah. Okay, so on this one here, so, and as well, if we could get an update on the process of so Jeff has a new business there, right?
Yep.
So I'm not sure what the
Oh,
process
yeah,
is
I
to
got
open
that.
a.
He was talking about 220
No,
or something.
but so when he opened his business, were there requirements for parking that he had to meet, or didn't meet, or should have met, or couldn't meet? And if we could get an update on that whole situation.
Well, it should be all in place from the previous Max.
I don't know, I don't wanna guess, so if they can
Yeah,
give us
yeah.
the updates, the specifics. And as well, we had at one time asked for an update on the property next to Perjo's Pizza, and we haven't heard anything back.
209.
Is it 209?
Yeah, I provided an update.
Did you?
I did, yeah.
letter.
Yeah.
Did we? There you go, Bill, we got a
Yeah.
letter. I don't remember the
I
letter.
don't remember the letter.
There's so
Jen
many.
read it to us.
Eh?
Jen read it to us.
Yeah,
Could you
they
resend
know-
it to us?
Okay.
All right, resend us the letter, please.
So there might have been a couple other things we missed, so Jen, we talked about that RCMP, I guess we forgot to put that issue sheet in. I should
We
have.
talked
Remember
about
RCMP with the KSD? We're talking about.
Kelsey School Division.
Yeah,
Wasn't at the
about-
last meeting.
About the cutting off of, I think me and you just talked about it, about the people driving on the sidewalks, there's all sorts of traffic issues.
Yes, that there would be.
We were gonna bring it up here and I don't think there's
A
any.
request.
Sorry, I don't.
Yeah, that's okay.
I don't know what
I can
you're
put it
not-
on the next,
So we can get it on the next meeting, yeah? So,
So you'll send me what that's about?
yeah, I will now.
Okay.
okay, so that's about RCMP, KSD.
Yeah, it was
Okay.
about the traffic concerns that they have, people
Okay.
driving on sidewalks and around, and just maybe some more visibility around the schools at busy times. And then the other thing, I guess we'll miss the dates though, maybe should have came up under personnel, was the, for Health and Safety Committee, it's the National Health and Safety Week, first week of May, and was wondering what was happening with the town, but
We usually don't do anything. We've never done anything in the past.
yeah.
I thought there was a barbecue one day.
We
No?
did that day of mourning, and
Really?
that was April 28th. We've
Okay,
missed
Sunday.
that, which was a Sunday and employees week.
Okay.
You're right, yes.
So you want Health Safety Committee week
I will
on the
put it-
agenda?
Yeah, we'll miss it, but I think we should put it on.
Let's
the
put it
news.
on there so we can be aware of it for next time.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else for new business next meeting? Not yet? All right, I guess a resolution to move into camera?
Well, just
sorry.
before we do that, I looked at what was in camera there, and I don't really see anything that was kind of in camera-ish. That should be, like
So
I asked I emailed Jen earlier in the day, and she gave me the explanation, but I really don't see that it fits that area, and I think it's kind of a contentious issue and sensitive. I think it needs to be talked here, but that's just my opinion.
Okay, so the planning and development for the Community Development Corporation, I guess it was to discuss the agreement primarily. I'm fine with it either way. Again, I'm gonna lean on Jen. Agreements, are they all in the open, or do you do those in camera first? I'm not.
If they're in, how did I word it? It was, if they're new, but it's not a new agreement. If they're in, do you have what I had sent to you,
Yeah,
Trevor, the wording of it? Sorry.
Yeah, and I looked up, like, one of the things, like, and I don't wanna be causing harm, like it says if it's causing economic hardship or harming your, I mean, I just don't think that it's, I got it here, I'll just look at my email here, but.
It's the development of agreement, and this agreement's already been developed. It doesn't necessarily say anything about, it's, you can do it either way. It can be,
Kiskis falls under 152, 3B, 3 being a matter as preliminary stages and
Preliminary
respecting.
stages, that's-
Respecting which discussion in public could prejudice a municipality's ability to carry out its activities or negations. So, I mean, I just don't see, honestly, I don't see anywhere in there where we could possibly have be doing any harm to the community or whatever. I don't know, if it was something where we're talking about somebody or something, like specifically where someone's gonna get, I don't wanna cause any harm that way, but I just think it's an issue that, I don't know, let's not,
Sure.
yeah.
Carrie?
I don't-
Good question. I never thought about that. I feel like there is somebody missing from the table who probably, I would assume, one of these groups would want to speak to this. But I can't speak for that group.
So-
For us to make, oh, jeez. This is gonna have to make me really hard.
I guess so.
Bottom line, I guess, is the decision isn't being made right here and now, because this other group, I would assume, would have a chance to voice their opinion.
Okay, so,
Yes or no?
But
yeah,
regardless of what you're talking about, where is the harm?
Yeah.
Where's the harm? So where's the harm in that? So even if the person's standing right there in front of us,
So that's the
So-
whole thing is we're just, since
Yeah.
there's not harm, then that makes it okay?
that's, from what I've read, and I read quite a bit about it today, about what can be in a camera, what can't. But again, I'm not saying I'm 100% right, I'm just throwing it out there for,
okay, so I guess so the issue is, we want to discuss the structure of the Community Development Corporation. If people are okay talking about that in the open meeting, then that's fine, we can do that. If there's things that would be sensitive to the cause, then you may not want to. But I think generally speaking, it could go either way. I agree with you.
yeah, I think this is why we have admin to say, hey, listen, or
Yep.
the mayor, to say, I
Yes.
think watch where we're going here.
Yeah.
And if it
Yeah.
does happen to go that way, that's
Yeah.
kind of where
It does speak to it does have specific name in here, does it not?
yeah, but we talk about names all the time, I'm talking in terms of, I mean, we're just,
Okay. Well, Bill, what do you think?
It can go either way, I guess. I know where Terry's coming from, and I know where Trevor's coming from. And really, we're not really doing any great specifics right now.
Yeah, we can talk about it.
Everybody's good to talk about it?
Yeah.
Andre? Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, we're talking about the CDC. Mystery solved. Good job.
Good call, Trevor.
Okay, so the issue sheet from the Assistant CAO.
And we're gonna move on to
The
issues.
CDC has requested a revision to the agreement between the town of Paw and the CDC. The town needs to appoint a new representative and an alternative to the CDC board. The CDC would like to change the Paw Community Renewal Corporation representative to the UCN president representative to keep all communication, partnerships, initiatives, and access to research open between the UCN and the Paw CDC. The mayor is currently the town rep on the board, and this needs to be changed to Councillor Murphy, and the alternative would be Councillor Lane. Review the entire agreement, if that's what council wants, and resolution for appointments.
and then I just get into number 2 there, like I thought we had agreed, and if you look at the minutes from the CDC, I'm not the alternate, I'm.
But the town only has one person if you
Yes.
read the agreement.
So
The
the,
CDC board
okay.
director shall be
Yeah.
made up as follows: one town council representative.
Yeah, so then.
Yeah, so
a
that's why we
revision-
need to
yeah, yeah,
reopen in the
For sure,
agreement.
yeah, I just making sure that
Yeah.
on our last, whatever, I don't know how many meetings ago or whatever it was, but we'd agreed that we both go an alternate to the, so.
Okay, so then, let's,
That's for sure.
okay,
but it
wait,
doesn't
okay,
say-
so let's go
yeah.
through this, folks, okay? So the agreement for between the town of the Paw and the CDC, there are 11, a maximum of 11 members with a minimum of 7. There are 4 organizations that have a named seat. The town of the Paw has one, the Chamber of Commerce has one, the Paw Community Renewal Corporation has one, and the RMF Kelsey has one. There are provisions for 4 taxpayers of the town of the Paw, and provisions for 3 citizens at large within a 50-kilometer radius of the Paw. So the CDC has sent us a request to amend the agreement, removing the Paw Community Renewal Corp. And inserting University College of the North. Now, I think having University College of the North at the table is a good idea. However, after discussions with representatives from the Paw CRC, they're still interested in being part of this organization. They did submit a name back in January to represent them because their former representative was no longer their representative. So back in January, they sent a name to the CDC asking for this person to be appointed to the board. In reviewing the minutes, and I have the minutes with me, I was unable to find when that discussion took place to not accept the name and to move forward with the change.
So
perhaps it was
I did some
happening.
homework there as we talked today,
Yep.
Herb, and I did talk to Rod a couple of times, and his recollection of how things transpired over the last little while regarding this was, it was a discussion, multiple discussions with Doug Lovestead that he actually wasn't a part of the the PAW CRC, and that he had mentioned, and he was participating as that member, but was not the actual rep on the PAW CRC. And so that discussion was going on, and then that's where the CDC decided that it would be good to obviously keep Doug Lovestead with his connections through the province and within the business world within this group, and had made that proposal to move forward with the UCN rep. In the interim, what ended up, Rod had told me, and I confirmed with him by calling back to make sure I understood, is it's his recollection that there was never any request formally brought to the table of a CDC meeting, not that he's aware of, that, so that the reason why it wouldn't be in the minutes, because it was never discussed. And his only discussion about the CDC, or the PAW Community Renewal Corporation's rep, was a discussion that he heard from Kim after they had already been deciding to do all this, so, and that's, and again, I just confirmed that with him tonight, that's what he told me.
Okay, so I'm confused, Andre, which happens a lot lately. So the letter that the Community Renewal Corp sent back in January appointing Roland Lassan as their representative, where was that discussed at a board meeting?
What I'm saying, it wasn't discussed at a board meeting, and what Rod told me, it was not ever at a meeting, and that his discussions with regards to the CRC, or the CRC's rep, was only a discussion between Kim, and Kim had told him about it. It was nothing formally done. The discussions around the UCN position was done prior to January, and they had been talking to Mr. Lovestead a few times, because he was telling them that he's not on the PAW Community Renewal Corporation, so it's hard for him to be the rep.
Okay, so did the board make the decision to remove the CRC, or did Kim make the decision?
I can't answer that because I wasn't there.
So if it wasn't discussed at a board meeting, then Kim made the decision?
I have no idea, you have to ask Kim, I don't have that information. What I can tell you is, like, as we talked, I called Rod, and that's what I asked him specifically, how did this transpire? And he said that, I asked him why this discussion wasn't on the minutes of the CDC, and he said it never was in a meeting. Not that he attended. So, I mean, that was the best of his recollection.
I'm interested to know, excuse me, other than Chamber of Commerce, because I know that is Linda Marcus, and I know Town Council are the two of you. And I'm interested to know how the other 8 positions lie.
I mean,
So, well, there's 4 people, there's 4 spots for taxpayers of the town of Paw. Who actually fits those spots? One for the RM at Kelsey. So that would be,
put the names out, so who are the names? So you got
So
myself on the town?
Okay, so this is what I have at the most recent.
Well, not, yeah.
yeah.
So this is what I have.
How they're all falling into play.
Okay, so-
Ready.
So what I have right now, officially, this is, and Jen can correct me. So for council for 2-year term is me, appointed November 26, 2018. For Chamber of Commerce, Linda Marcus expired December 12th, 2016.
No, she was appointed December 12th, 2016.
Appointed?
Yeah, these are all appointment dates. She was appointed December 12th, 2016.
Okay,
So it expired in December.
yeah, that's right, pardon me. She expired December 12th, 2018.
Yeah.
She was appointed December 12th, 2016.
Okay.
The PAW Community Renewal Corp was Doug. He was appointed December 12th, 2016. He expired December 12th, 2018. It has 4 taxpayers. Now, I've got Darcy Monroe with a circle around that, because I see his name on some of the of the minutes, but I'm not sure if it really is Darcy. We have Murray Hocus, Kent Cook, and Jerome Conity. And from the RMF Kelsey, we have Rod Berzawicki. For citizens at large, we have Kathy McConigal, Rob Penner, and Alan Gibb. So at this point in time, Linda Marcus is not a member, Doug Lovestead is not a member, and my thoughts are that Darcy Monroe has missed enough meetings that he's no longer a member. So that would leave those 3 spots open right now.
Who are the 3 citizens at large again? Alan Gibb?
3 citizens at large are Kathy
Kathy.
McConigal, Rob Penner, and Alan Gibb.
Rob Penner, okay.
And the minutes of the last meeting, they were sent a renewal for Linda, a request for renewal for Linda, but this community renewal thing's new to me, as for some reason.
Yeah. And so I spoke with the TPCRC's executive director to confirm that they no longer wanted to be part of this. And she advised me that I was wrong and that they still do want to be part of it. As she said, this is all part of their mandate, being part of an organization like this. And as she had said, they sent Roland's name in back in January and never heard anything more from it.
It is part of their mandate. I believe it's in their operational plan.
Yeah, she said TPRC is still interested. We have a 5-year plan that was community consulted. As a result of it, 5 priorities emerged to guide the development of efforts, and 1 out of 5 priorities does include community economic development. It's important for us to have a seat at that table. So they're saying that they are still interested in being involved. And as I said, I think the idea of having UCN at the table is a good idea. They bring a whole other perspective with them, but I'm not sure it should be at the expense of TPCRC.
How does appointment to this board happen? So the CDC makes the appointment, approves it, then comes here?
Generally speaking.
Yeah.
Generally speaking. So, for instance, Chamber of Commerce, TPCRC, the RMF Kelsey, even Town of the Paw, these 4 organizations appoint somebody, and Town Council.
This is bad timing, sorry guys, I've gotta go. Hopefully 15 minutes, I'll be back, 20 minutes. I have an adjuster sitting at my house.
And so, we'll see when you get back. So the town confirms the appointment.
So then are we okay if we're going back to renew the Paw Community Renewal Corp position and then asking to add on the UCN one, like keep the existing and add, is that what you're asking for?
Well, I'm not asking for anything. I'm pointing out the procedure that, TPCRC has a spot at the board, and I can't see in the minutes where the Paw Community Development Corporation discussed it at a board meeting to remove an organization from the agreement. So I'm curious if the board made the decision, or if the executive director made the decision, or if a private board member made the decision, because I don't see it in the minutes. Or I might not have all the minutes. Oh, and the letter was signed by it was moved by Linda, seconded by Rod, and signed by Rod. So that was on March the 2nd.
For the UCN one.
So on March the 2nd, from the CDC, the Paw Community Development Corporation has made the following recommendation to the Town of the Paw Council, requesting the following revision to page 1 of the current agreement with the Town of the Paw and the Paw CDC Board of Directors. 1, the Paw Community Renewal Corp representative 2-year term, to University College of the North President representative 2-year term. The rationale for the revision: to keep all communication, partnership, initiatives, and access to research trends open between UCN and the Paw CDC. Moved by Linda Marcus, seconded by Rod Berzawicki. 4 was 7, against 0, 1 abstained, 3 absent, carried yes. The Paw Community Development Corp hereby accepts the motion to approve the revision to page 1 of the current agreement with Town of the Paw and the Paw CDC Board of Directors, pending Town of the Paw Council's approval. Sincerely, Rod Berzawicki. So I guess again, right, I don't see it in the minutes where this was discussed. But I might not have all the minutes.
So, yeah, but having said that, then if Doug Lovestead was the representative for CRC at one time?
Yes. Yeah, he was. He was their rep, yeah.
Okay, and then he announced that he no longer was their rep,
Yeah, like his term expired,
okay?
right? And he was no longer their rep.
So that's when they injected that role in Lassand, right?
Yes, nominated him.
Okay.
Yes.
So now the four taxpayer ones, Darcy Monroe, Murray Hawkes, Kent Cook, and Jerome Conity. Those people are 2-year term, 4-year term, life indemnity, what?
No term.
There's no term limits on this. They're there for life.
Town council rep has a 2-year term, chamber has a 2-year term, and the Paul Renewal Corporation has a 2-year term. 4 taxpayers, there's no term. 1 RM council rep, there's no term, and the 3 citizens at large, there's no term.
So then, in the 4 people, if the one person hasn't met the obligation of going to all the meetings, could they not put the UCN person in the 4 tax ones? Or would
No.
they won't fit in that?
No,
Because they're
Yeah.
an outside group, right?
No, the issue is residency. Doug is the president of the college, but he lives at the lake.
Right, so he's into the 350K,
Yeah,
which is full.
which is full right now. So in order to get a UCN spot, we would need to reopen the agreement and try to establish it.
So at that time, would you change the 4 taxpayers to like
Well,
a 2-year term also?
well,
If you're gonna open the agreement?
If you're gonna open the agreement, then you would want to review it in its entirety, and
Right.
anything that you felt was deficient would be a time to address it.
Right.
In addition to, we don't have space on here per se to appoint an additional town rep. We have room for 1 town rep. We could conceivably, if Darcy Monroe was no longer there, we could conceivably appoint, say, Trevor as a taxpayer. And he could assume that spot.
What's your thoughts on it, Mr. Mann?
Well, honestly, I think we should have kind of looked through all this stuff before we started to do a bunch of stuff on it, to be honest with you. It's a bit embarrassing. I mean, we're sent to a meeting to represent, and then I feel that we kind of got directed to do the wrong things. I believe that this group is working to improve our community, and I think that, as I mentioned before, we need to spend some time working with them before we want to revamp the whole situation. And if process-wise it's a mess, then let's fix the process. Fix what's broken.
I mean, I know we all didn't vote to keep this thing going, right? So, but the majority did. So to send them 2 people from council when the majority of people said yes, now we're finding ways to pick apart this. I mean, I could take any agreement, whether it's, and I'm on recycling, let's go start picking apart who's not on the recycling. Let's look at this, and we talk about all this stuff, and the nitpick, and in some cases for sure, I mean, I appreciate the, hey, let's get our, stuff in order here to make sure we have things properly, but, I mean, it's we're gonna go and take everything apart when I don't think everything needs to be taken apart. I mean, is it that difficult to open it up and add and subtract where we wanna go? I mean, we weren't even on when, like what we're talking about with the Community Renewal Corporation, so let's move forward there. And I can guarantee you, if we were at the meeting where we would say, hey, listen, guys, maybe should we do this? Or we report back to say, hey, this is what was done, this is what we're suggesting. But we went to one meeting, and after the one meeting, we're basically said we shouldn't have been at the one meeting because we're not supposed to even be there. But we all agreed in majority to send us to the meeting. So I would never send you to a meeting and when you came back to the meeting, say, hey, you shouldn't have went to the meeting. Right?
I think the technical thing that we said was that you will become our reps. It's not, now again, please, guys, I get that we're all new here, I get it, so don't take this the wrong way. There isn't a single topic that this council has talked about more of than the CDC since the day after the election. Not a single one. It's, you guys have a responsibility as much as I do to review all the information. I understand you're busy, I'm as busy as anyone. It's not my fault if you guys don't read the agreements. That's your responsibility. As far as sending you and sacrificing you, so to speak, no, that wasn't the case at all. We said, and I said it to put it on tonight's agenda 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it was on tonight's agenda. It was premature to go, and as well, the CDC clearly is not following the terms of the agreement themselves, because for them to appoint you two fellas, they didn't have the council resolution, nor did they have room on the board for both of you. So clearly, they're not following the agreement. So either we follow the agreement or we don't. But this is supposedly the economic engine of the community, and I think we've exposed some shortcomings.
Why, because we don't follow this?
Well,
Because we have too many people on the committee or the process?
no,
is
because we
broken?
still don't know if the whatever her title is, if she removed TPCRC or if the board removed TPCRC.
Yeah, and we need to ask her
Because that's not in the minutes. Either there was a meeting or it wasn't.
So I just saw something on Graham saying that he got the wrong numbers from the recycling board, correct? From 2018. So we should get rid of everybody from the recycling board because we gave him the wrong numbers. So there's things that are gonna be, like, you know what, in a year's time or whatever, if we're going there and we're acting like jokers and we can't figure stuff out and nothing's happening, sure, I'm all for it. Like, I went to one meeting and like, yeah, you know what, I didn't go over this with a fine tooth comb. I'm trying to figure out who's actually been there, who's not. I mean, and I've read a lot of stuff. So, you know, we'll figure it out. So we can make the changes, we can change the agreement, we can do whatever. You just finished saying all of our agreements with the RM are all expired.
That's right.
So why are we, well, how come they're expired?
Well,
How
that's
did we let that happen?
If the previous counselor was here who could defend that, we would have an answer. Now that I'm aware of it, I've brought it to the table, and we're gonna renegotiate those agreements. You know, this whole thing has consumed more of council's time than any other single issue.
But I don't believe, like, because we have a few issues here with appointments, I don't think that's derailing this process. Because Linda Marcus or Doug Lovestead's expired, and because there was a mistake made on how we appoint somebody, I don't think that completely destroys the whole Community Development Corporation. And if we need to fix that because of process, let's fix it for sure. I mean, I'm not saying let's not fix it. But I still think we gotta give this some time with our direction and our priorities before we decide that we gotta start all over again. And that's what we agreed to the last meeting. So let's figure out.
So if you go back to CDC, to your meeting at CDC,
We don't go to those meetings, we're not on the board.
to fix this, or to fix it, it's still that the town has a rep, the chamber has a rep, the Renewal Corporation has a rep, the RM has a rep, there's 4 taxable people, there's 3 from outside 50K.
But is it
It's still gonna be the same number of people. The only thing is, it has to do some jigging in that we, as a council, kind of did something outside of the books. Is that we only had 1 rep and we decided that we would send 2. So,
But how do we change this agreement to make it work for us? If we want 2 reps on there, then what's the way you do that? And if we want to make sure that only you have 2 years or 4 years,
yeah, you just don't need agreement and you rewrite it. It's not a big deal.
okay,
I can't see as it's a big deal.
Yeah, but it's not just our agreement, right? So we can rewrite it, we can do whatever, but if we can say on high that this is how it shall be, then I guess they can make a decision if they want to accept it or not.
who's they?
The CDC, because this
Well-
is an agreement between the 2 of us. It's not,
So, okay,
it's
so
not a
let's-
dictate.
So let's have a combined meeting once again, sit down and hash it all out.
I'm sure that the CDC, I mean, I could be shocked, and there's been a few surprises, but I can't see why they would disagree with it. They're already passing the motions
Yeah,
outside of process to do it. So if we said, hey, can we open this up, have 2 council reps, and maybe 3 taxpayers, and can we get these people that are, I think, pretty good people, renewed? I don't think they're gonna say no. And let's go back to what we committed to. We're gonna give this thing a year to try to make it work. And if things are sitting here a year from now, and we're doing the same thing over and over again, or it could be 6 months from now, any time we can stop and say, this isn't working. Because if we don't have this, then what? I guess that's unless somebody has another solution.
I don't know. It just has to be reworked.
I mean, we have had no chances to even try to influence to do anything, because, like I said, we found out we weren't able to be on that committee. anyways.
Mayor and council has to figure out what we're gonna do. If we're gonna do it, go do it. Don't go send me off to a meeting and then, yeah, a lot of our time has been consumed with it, because I can't keep up with the emails asking for this, and all the questions. And for sure, there's gonna be questions, but we just kinda started. We just started in the whole thing. And if we're going forward with it, just give us a little bit of time. For sure, I appreciate some of the stuff that needs to be fixed, but can we not fix it? Or just vote the other way? It's all, get a consensus, vote the other way, we'll end the agreement, we'll put an application out there looking for an EDO, which we won't find, and we'll have another position that we won't have anyone known for. And then we're wondering why we're looking at, no more development.
And then, in-camera discussion, I mean, I have some thoughts on that as well.
So what's the end result? The end result is we open the agreement and change it, or what?
If you want to, then you need to have a meeting, a discussion of what we would like to change, and then a meeting with the CDC proposing our changes. That's the process.
And that's what it is then.
Generally speaking, that's the process.
For sure, like, so put it on new business. I mean, I want this to work, and if it doesn't work, I'm not afraid to say, listen, this doesn't work. We're producing absolutely nothing. So put it on for a new business. We can add in what we need to add, whether it's adding on the terms, adding the representatives that mayor and council would like to have on there. And
So as it stands right now, the TPCRC had forwarded a name. They are waiting for a response as to whether that name is accepted or not accepted. In my opinion, they still have a seat at the table.
Yeah.
So maybe we could ask the CDC to push that forward, because we haven't received that officially.
yeah,
You know, I know it's, I get this, right? But the thing is, there has to, this organization is supposedly the economic brain trust of our community, right? That's their job. So it causes me concern when a group or organization can be removed from the group and it's not in the minutes of the board meeting. Now, that is a big deal, right?
Well-
Because it's trust and openness and accountability. And I seem to feel like it's missing. Because I can't imagine a situation where I would remove somebody without it being in the minutes somewhere.
And let's ask the question. I mean, I don't know if it was an oversight. I don't know that detail. Like, all I know was, like I told you, when I called Rod, that's what he told me. I didn't ask him if it was,
Well, I'm sure it's something that can be fixed quite easily,
Yeah.
and it's not a big problem.
No,
And maybe the
It
agreement,
is a big problem. It is a big problem, because you have to trust the people you're working with.
no,
And
I
if-
understand that part, Herb, but like to open an agreement and everybody sit down and redo it and come up with, like, how long has this agreement been in place?
a number of years.
Yeah.
2016,
3 years.
3 years.
Things change. And we brought a part of that change by sending 2 representatives there. So it's part of our job to open negotiations, redo it, set it back out, and okay, let's get going. Because the more time, like you say, we just spend so much time on this that everything else is getting pushed back.
Right. And again, right, their most recent meeting on April the 12th, Linda Marcus is not a member of the CDC at this moment in time. She is not a member. Her appointment has not been renewed, nor
Neither
has
is
Doug's.
mine. I shouldn't be there.
You're right.
Yeah.
Because we haven't approved either one of you.
Exactly.
Right? The point is, when you're passing resolutions, the rules of the thing are you have to follow the procedure, including a quorum, and you have to be appointed to the board. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 people there out of 7 who are officially on the board.
And so we all understand that technically there was an issue with that, so let's fix that.
Right.
Let's just move beyond that, put a process in place to fix it. If we want more people on there, we want more representation on there, which is already what they're writing out in motions and letters they're sending us that are not appropriate, I'm sure we can put together a plan to fix it. And if we get to the table and we just cannot agree, then I guess that brings us to a different discussion.
Okay.
Yeah, that's something we'll have to talk about. And we open the agreement.
Okay.
So the.
What's that, Jen?
Well, the issue has to be decided whether or not for taxpayers of the town of the Pas. Now, if you're running for council, you need to be a resident taxpayer, right? You need to own land in the town of the Pas. It can't be that you have a business and still run for council. So there are members of the CDC who don't own residential property in town, but who do pay commercial taxes in their businesses. Are they a taxpayer? And some of them are sitting on there as taxpayers when they're not residents or residential.
And so where does that say that in that agreement?
On page 1, the CDC Board of Directors shall be made up.
No, I know, I see that, but what, so taxpayers, where does it say specific resident taxpayers instead of?
It doesn't.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that needs to be addressed. Is it going to be just own a business and pay tax in town? Or do you need to be a resident and pay
Why
tax
doesn't
in
it just
town?
be a taxpayer and leave it as it is today?
Well, it's
Well,
something
why
we need
would
to
you want-
discuss when this
why
comes
though?
back to the table.
Like, why though? Why would you
Well,
want?
why is it in the municipal act?
Well, why do we have to complicate that? If it's a taxpayer, it's a taxpayer, and it's working today, and,
But it's, okay, we can debate this one for a while. It's not working today, in my opinion.
well,
But we can debate that one.
no, but we're talking, you might not think that the people that are on there are working for us, but the process of having a person there, if it was somebody else, would it be working?
Yeah, well, I think it should be defined whether or not they are a resident or a business owner, or what are they? So, again, that's part of the agreement. So if we're going to move forward with this, then we need to have a discussion of council of what we want to change the agreement, and then we need to set up a meeting with the CDC.
So we're
add it
changing
to the next
everything then,
committee,
like
the
we're
whole
going
agenda?
through the whole thing?
Well, if we're going to open it, we might as well address any shortcomings or deficits that we see.
So do we know some of those now, or?
Do you want me to
And some of them for
email
you to look up.
the agreement to all council to review
From the
before the next
CDC
committee
side.
of the whole meeting?
I know, but are we making a bigger thing? We wanted to give this 1 year, now we're gonna introduce a bunch of other things into the process? Like, all we were talking about is the positions.
That's all.
So if we're opening up the entire agreement, then,
Okay, so then if we're not going to open up the agreement in its entirety, are we sending you or are we sending you? We only have room for one.
no, but what we said though, Herb, is we're gonna open up the agreement and we're gonna have a discussion on the positions. And we were gonna say that so that the Paul Community Renewal Corporation gets their position, maybe it's a good idea to have a UCN rep on there. If we wanna have 2 council reps, let's do that. If we only wanna have 2 taxpayers or 3, whatever it happens to be. Because they're already recommending that to us in a letter that they're saying, we would like you to pass this motion. Illegally, because they're not allowed to do that, but they did. So I don't think that disagreement is gonna take too hard to shake up. If we're gonna spend the next 2 months going through every line and saying, I think this should be October 31st, and, you know, it should be 2,500,000 for, then we'll be here, and we won't get anywhere with it.
Well, the things that need to be addressed are the term of office.
Yeah,
That's one thing that needs to be addressed, because those 8 positions are for life. Clarification possibly on what does taxpayer mean.
and I would assume that the terms of office were really based on the facts that those who are actual, those positions are usually appointed somewhere else. Taxpayers are usually lifers, I would imagine, and so if you're paying taxes in the pot, you're gonna have some. I mean, I'm guessing, I don't know why the RM of Kelsey would have a lifelong member, but.
Yeah. There's been some shortcomings on the budget and the financial notices, because even like for
I
tonight.
actually have the financial reports for this, I just got them. I'll email them to everybody as soon as all I did was ask for them.
Okay, so the,
Elaine's got them done.
Elaine's got them done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The end of year
Yeah,
statement
your
that we were
statement.
asking for,
yeah,
and
Yeah.
she,
The audit, you mean?
yeah,
Oh, okay, good.
yeah, I'll give them, I can't send emails off this thing, I'll have to wait till I get my computer and send it, it's easier.
Who does the accounting now?
Cabelcas.
They do the accounting and the audit?
I don't think.
No, they
there was
didn't
an
do the audit, sorry,
No, I don't think there was an audit done.
yeah. You asked for, well,
There
what
should be an audit done.
Herb was asking for was,
The balance sheet with the financial statement?
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, that's not, okay, so
Sorry.
this isn't the audit.
No.
Okay. Oh, exciting.
Audit's not due till June 30th.
Yeah.
I can't even open it on this thing, so.
It's okay, it's okay.
Well, I think you need it for your, the budget, right?
No. We just give them a mark, it doesn't affect.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so then, in summation, we would like 2 council reps.
Yep.
We would like a spot for UCN.
Yep.
Yeah.
The only thing that's gonna change is like the
President or
town's
just
gonna have
UCN?
2, the chamber's gonna have 1, renewal's gonna have 1, the RM's gonna have 1. So it comes out of either the 4 tax or the 3, whatever for.
Doesn't matter?
Doesn't matter,
Why don't you just leave them on?
doesn't matter.
Sad. I mean, they have a hard time getting enough people there anyways.
Yeah. So whether you go to 12 or 11,
And
Okay, so we would add a council rep.
yep,
We would add a spot for UCN. 2-year term limits
yep,
For everyone?
for everyone.
I think for everybody.
yeah, for everybody. And I think it just makes it simpler.
Yep. Do you, just a thought here, do you, if you're gonna go with limits, would everybody be separate, half and half? So
So they carry over like from 1 year
so
to
you
the
always have a
next.
carryover and you don't have a complete group?
Yeah, you can do it that way.
Yeah, 2 and 1.
Yeah,
1 in the first year, 2 in the second.
yeah.
Like I say, again, it's unfortunate the rest of council isn't here because they may have some thoughts.
Well,
So, can,
This will have to come back.
It's gonna have to come back.
Yeah.
so can you prepare this document somewhat and then bring it back for the next meeting? And I guess we should ask the CDC for a meeting day.
After our next meeting, right? Or
Yeah, no, after, right, because we still have to have our budget discussion yet this evening. Anything else? on this one?
That was easy.
Okay,
Democracy should always get on the meeting, right? It's good.
It's good for you. Hey,
Gentlemen? Yeah, that is, it's interesting.
So in terms of like actually going like to a meeting, when's the next meeting is, what is it?
23rd of May.
Okay, so
Yeah,
we might have, okay, all right.
We
okay.
should
I thought it was
hopefully
soon.
have everything
That was the
cleaned up
23rd.
before then.
Okay, yeah. I have to-
well, you know, for expediency's sake, we are within our rights and purview at the next council meeting to appoint Andre as the council rep,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
So why don't we at least move forward with that?
Okay.
So that doesn't hold up that.
Okay.
Okay,
I can,
you can do that?
I can do that.
You can do
I can read my writing.
I think that's it, the rest is in camera. Motion 2.
Oh, yes, just wait. So, I was already in that spot.
I did use the motion. It's,
So we're moving to in
2012.
camera?
I think Centennial was 2012?
Still got that cat.
Resolved that we now move ourselves to the in-camera portion of the committee of the whole with Mayor Jiggs in the chair to discuss mattering requiring our attention.
There'll be nothing that comes out of it.